Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum listeners. I'm Nazim again with you with my 8th lecture. Well, wait. What did I do different today? Can you tell me? Well, I cannot receive your answer quickly, but just write down what is that which I have done differently today. Since the listening lecture is still afresh in my memory, I want to check how much have you picked up from my last 2 lectures. And I did something different, which I never did before. I have addressed you differently. I said, listeners. I didn't say viewers. If you really picked up, that means you have really geared yourself into that state where you are an active listener. Today, I'm going to talk to you, which is something more than listening. When you listen to me, there's only a part of communication which comes as sound, something more than you observe. If I ask you that when you meet somebody, what is that you remember most? Surely you would say that you forget lots of things which you discussed with that person. But you carry some vivid image. And I know after some time you will forget what I talked to you through this television, but you will carry some image, some impression, which you surely must be picking up during these lectures. This something which I'm talking about is more than the words, more than the language, which imparts more information, and that is the subject of my lecture today. That is called nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is more important than verbal. Verbal contributes only a part. Major information, major attributes to the communication are given by nonverbal communication. Look at the definition. Nonverbal communication is interpersonal communication, non-linguistic means. That is, through this communication, we don't use the language. We use other means to express our viewpoint, to express what we want to communicate to the person. Now, nonverbal communication is used both in oral communication as well as in written communication. You'll be amazed. How come? In written communication? Yes. If I ask you that what do you do if you want to express your feelings to your near dear one who is not living with you, want to send a message to a distant relative or to a near one, to your mother, to your sister, your brother, who are not staying with you, you send a card. What does a card communicate? And how do you express the greetings, your feelings, through a card? The colors, the pictures, figures, lots of things. Looking at the card, one can find out how intimate, close expression you want to communicate. That what you could not say verbally, you have sent it through a card. Writing letters. Likewise, writing letters is only looking at the letter. Of course, reading communicates through words, but other than that, the page you use, the color of the page you use, the envelope you use, the handwriting, all communicate. This is nonverbal communication. I receive lots of CVs, job applications, and the first thing that impresses me most or what dejects me most is the way the matter is put on the paper. If the person has put the things in the right perspective, in the right form, I like it. But if the original message is hidden somewhere which I cannot quickly pick up, that means non-verbally I am not receptive to the message, what the writer has tried to communicate to me. This is the non-verbal aspect. Now, non-verbally, you can highlight the message through letters. That is how? Through underlining some aspects, some words. You can as well put them into italics. You can use some colors. And that is the non-verbal aspect, because you cannot communicate the feelings by words. So what you do is, at times, you use colors. You highlight, you may use different fonts. That is where you want to emphasize. This is the non-verbal aspect when you use writings. So when you are writing, you can use this non-verbal communication as well in the form you would like either to put focus on or otherwise submerge the feelings to whichever form, putting figures, statistical data, highlighting. So another very important aspect in communication, in the written communication, besides oral communication, where you use it more frequently. Let's look at the statistics of how much non-verbal aspects we use in our communication. We use more than 90% of communication through non-verbal attributes. Verbally, the words only contribute 7%. Vocal, the voice, tone, uses 38%. And visually, your body language uses 55%. That is, non-verbally, you are using 93%. Imagine how much important this attribute is. If you really want to be an effective manager, an effective supervisor, and I keep on repeating these things because this is ultimately your professional aim, you have to focus on the non-verbal aspect of the communication. This will help you in negotiating, in communicating, in addressing to the people, because people would look at you the way you present yourself. Can you imagine if I am differently dressed, how would you take me? That is exactly giving an impression that a person who is in the right form, right messages giving through his outward appearance, that you will keep an image, a vivid memory of the person long after the person has disappeared from your eyes. Now, look at the various elements of nonverbal communication, and the first most important is appearance. Let us see how the appearance in written communication makes or leaves an effect. If the letter you receive has got lots of grammatic mistakes, if the writing is illegible, you can't read it. If the underlining or striking over is done at numerous places, then the impact you get of that application or letter is not very pleasing. अगर मुझे कोई ऐसी एप्लीकेशन आए जिसमें बहुत ज़्यादा कटिंग्स, बहुत ज़्यादा गलतियाँ और आगे नीचे बहुत इरेगुलर सा उसका स्ट्रक्चर, तो यकीन कीजिए मेरा पहला इंप्रेशन उस राइटिंग के बारे में होगा कि दिस राइटर इज नॉट सीरियस. And if that is an application, I'll completely, quickly reject it. Because that gives an impression of your personality, your cleanliness, your efficiency, your proficiency. So, पहला impact appearance का in writing communication में बहुत important है. Talking about oral communication, imagine the moment you walk into a hall, if you are a speaker, the way you carry yourself in the hall, the way you address to the people, the way you are dressed up, the way you look, all makes a marked difference. That's the first impression you give to people by carrying yourself. Even your gait, that is very important. That is the first appearance which leaves an impact. People then decide whether to listen or not to listen, because this is the first appearance of the non-verbal communication you have started with. So, you must be careful that non-verbal appearance will leave an impact. Your hairstyle, your clothings, your cleanliness. If you are a woman who want to make presentation, the makeup you have on, the cosmetics, the jewelry, these things will matter too. Your body size, your body shape, all these will leave an impact. अगर मैं आपसे ये सवाल करूं और ऑनेस्टली मुझे इसका जवाब दीजिए कि अगर मैं आज आपके सामने धोती कुर्ता पहन के खड़ा हूं और यही बातें कर रहा हूं जो मैं आपको कम्युनिकेट करना चाहता हूं, आप क्या इंप्रेशन मेरे बारे में लेंगे? इमेजिन कीजिए कि हम मस्जिद में अगर नमाज पढ़ने जाएं तो वो प्रॉपर लिबास ना हो और मैं निक्कर में चला जाऊं. इज इट परमिसिबल? नो, दैट इज नॉट what is desirable. For every situation, we need to have a particular appearance, and that is what is very important in nonverbal communication. Let me give you a practical example of appearance, because appearance is not only my outward appearance, but even, as I said, the makeup on, even the perfume you carry, the perfume you wear. I distinctly remember a meeting where I was sitting with lots of people, but there was one lady sitting next to me. She was a stranger. After some time, she asked me when we entered into communication, can you please tell me which perfume are you wearing? I told her the name. I said, yes, that's what I guessed, because my husband loves this perfume. Now, look, that was the entry point of a communication, of being frank, entering into a frank dialogue. So imagine, even the perfume you carry can open up new doors of communication with the people around. So be careful that whatever you are doing with yourself is leaving an impact. और दूसरी example, जो कि बहुत practical example है, and often I do observe, but sometimes I just cannot tell to my students, that is the body odor. That's a smell which at times come because you are negligent of your hygienic, about your hygienic attributes. So that as well could put off people around you. I know an incident where a person had a specific body odor in one of the major organizations. And fortunately or unfortunately, either he was quite unaware of it or he could do nothing, but people would avoid going and meeting him. I quote you another, my personal experience. I was sitting with one of my friends in America. I had gone on a short trip. He runs a shop. So while I was talking to him, I saw walking a salesman. It was hot summer, and I saw him sweating. The moment he entered, there was a foul smell spread all in the room. मैंने जल्दी से अपने दोस्त को कहा, यार मैंने इसको जल्दी से फारग करो. उसने कहा, यार मैंने भी महसूस किया. Imagine a salesman not taking care of the body odor or the sweat which in that summer puts off your customers. A very important aspect. We have to teach to our employees, we have to teach to our people we work with that this leaves an impact. मैं अक्सर अपने स्टूडेंट से जब बात करता हूं तो मैं इस चीज पे बहुत फोकस करता हूं, and I emphasize and I make it very important for them that they at a very early stage should realize the importance of appearance. In one of my classes where I teach them a special subject of how to change their attitudes and how to start living like a leader, an executive, because after all, when you are into MBA or BBA, you ultimately aspire to be a leader one day. So you have to start living in that environment so that you could pick up those attributes which would lead to that final professional stage. तो मैंने एक दिन अपने स्टूडेंट को कहा कि अगर तुम वाकई ही चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव अपने आप को देखना चाहते हो later stage in your professional life, then you must start dressing up like that. He picked up my points, and the next day I saw him in the class, spick and span, an executive suit, a matching tie, shiny boots. आया और बड़ा हंस रहा था, कहने लगा सर आज कमाल हुआ. मैंने कहा क्या? कहने लगा कि मैंने कल आपका ये मैसेज पिक कर लिया, and I thought that I'm going to live like that. I'll have to start appearing like an executive. He said, आज मैं बस स्टॉप पे खड़ा था और बस का इंतजार कर रहा, यकदम मेरे पास एक कार आकर खड़ी हुई और उसके अंदर से एक बड़ा सोबर, सेंसिबल, सूटेड आदमी जो उसे ड्राइव कर रहा था, उसने मुझे अंदर इशारा किया. मैं गया तो उसने कहा, could I drop you where you want to go? And during that passage, his dropping to the institution, he picked up conversation with the student. He thought, the driver thought, that he was working in a multinational organization. जब उसने कहा कि मैं स्टूडेंट हूं, he was so impressed. उसने अपना विजिटिंग कार्ड उसको निकाल के दिया. I am really pleased because you have already started living like an executive director. So this is the impact an appearance leaves on a person when you start reflecting the image or start reflecting the attributes which you one time want to acquire. So appearance बहुत important है. मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले आपसे जिक्र किया था कि अगर खवातीन स्पीकर बनना चाहती हैं, they have to take extra care to see that they don't wear extra jewelry. Imagine कीजिए अगर कोई लेडी स्पीकर किसी कंपनी को, किसी मीटिंग को एड्रेस करे और उसने पूरी हाथ में सोने की चूड़ियां या कांच की चूड़ियां पहनी होंगी, and during the conversation when she uses her gestures, what impression would it give to the people? It will create distraction. It will create disturbance. So it is important that, especially for women, that they should see to it that the appearance is conducive. It is according to the culture they are in. If women do not take extra care of their appearance, it's going to put them off. It's going to obstruct their professional attainment, professional career. They must dress themselves up. They must look as the environment demands. So appearance is important. अभी तक तो मैं आपसे appearance की बातें कर रहा था, आपकी अपनी, और मैंने बहुत सारी चीजें जो गालिबन इस वक्त मैं डिटेल्स में नहीं जाना चाहता, लेकिन एक चीज जो मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि आपकी वर्क स्पेस की अपीयरेंस भी एक नॉन वर्बल इमेज देती है. इफ आई वॉक इन टू योर रूम at this moment where you are watching me, listening, and if I see you around with all the things cluttered, I will get what impression, you know what I'll get. But if they're clean and tidy, give me a good impact. It'll leave a good impact on me. इसी तरह से जब आप किसी के ऑफिस में चले जाएं, तो even the figures hanging on the walls, the piles of the files on the table, the space all around gives you an impact. Okay, ये बंदा कैसा है? Is he neat? He or she for that matter. अगर उसकी मेज के ऊपर बहुत सारा pile of files हैं, first impression I get is he is not serious about his work. He must be wasting a lot of time in meetings or being away from the office. And that's why the desk is not neat. ये चीजें आपको फौरन एक impact देती हैं. And be careful that आपका environment, जिस environment में आप रहते हैं, ख्वाह वो आपका घर हो, आपका work place हो, जहां भी हो, it will give an impression that you are neat, that you are disciplined, you are efficient minded. आज के बाद, I think that's the first lesson I would like my listeners and my viewers too, because now that you have understood the importance of nonverbal communication, you are both active listeners and good viewers looking at the nonverbal communication aspect as well. I would expect that you put a lot of emphasis on your appearance, because this is what is going to make or break you. This is going to create a lot of change in your personality. It will completely change the complexion of your personal and professional life. अगर आप neat and tidy घर रखेंगे, neat and tidy अपना workplace रखेंगे, I'm quite sure this is going to have a ripple effect. और हम यहाँ से निकलकर as a leader, as a good citizen of this country, as well will make this country very clean. Imagine, agar aap ki ye habits, ye attributes develop ho gayi, how would you behave with while you are driving? Ye nahi ki aapne khaya, phenk diya bahar. Because it will become your second nature. You will always be worried if somebody sees me doing this thing, what impression I'm going to give. So appearance makes a lot of difference. I wouldn't like to waste a lot of time, though I would be very interested to tell you more about appearance, but suffice to say at this time that keep a very serious an eye on your appearance and see to it that you look as you want to be looked, and your interaction with people, your environment should be a reflection of how you want to be remembered by people. Second element of nonverbal communication is facial expressions. Facial expressions are my eyebrows, my eyes, my chin, my face. You must have heard people saying that face is the index of mind. चेहरा बहुत कुछ रिफ्लेक्ट करता है. जो आप सोचते हैं वो आपके चेहरे पे आता है. अच्छे स्पीकर को आप चेहरे से जज कर लेंगे, उसकी सीरियसनेस पे, उसकी सिंसियरिटी पे. यू विल फाइंड आउट दिस इज अ सोबर पर्सन. पहला इंप्रेशन फेस का. आज जब मैं आपके साथ बात कर रहा हूं, आप देखिए कि मैं वर्ड से ज्यादा अपने चेहरे से आपके साथ बातें करता हूं. एंड यू कैन मेक आउट whether the things are coming from my mouth or they are coming from my heart. That is exactly what the communication is. That you observe people and you judge them more through their gestures, through their facial expressions, through their tonality of the voice. That is important. आज सारी चीजों को मैं बार बार emphasize karunga, one by one I'll talk to you. But the most important aspect is that focus on the non-verbal aspect, facial expressions. How come somebody walks out of the office and then suddenly you find that the person is sad, is gloomy, he's not comfortable, he's angry? Then how do you know that? How come you just look at a person's face, you're not comfortable today? Are you disturbed? Are you stressed? How come? A person might not have spoken a word, but this is facial expression. The beauty of the non-verbal communication is that man is basically an animal. हम अपने biological जो हमारे feelings हैं, उनको हम रोक नहीं सकते. They are inbuilt. That is the irony. कि we may be saying something, लेकिन अंदर से internal feelings biological system से अपने आप को express कर देती हैं. So लिहाजा when you are talking to a person, तो आपके gestures जो biological आपकी body का rhythm है, वो अपने आप को express कर देगा. And that is exactly, you cannot hide. Only if you are a keen observer, you'll pick up those symptoms and find out whether there is a contradiction with one person is saying and what the gestures or facial expressions are. If they synchronize, the person is speaking the truth. If it is not, believe the gestures, believe the facial expressions. ये चीजें झूठ नहीं बोलती. मैं लफाजी कर सकता हूं, मैं लफ्जों में झूठ बोल सकता हूं, लेकिन मेरे facial expressions, मेरे gestures असल राज बता देंगे. I may be a very good actor, but somehow, somewhere, if you are a keen observer, if you are expert in finding out, something will leave an impression that you will look into it and say, हाँ, नहीं, ये is posing like that. Inwardly, he is not happy. Eye contact. Eye contact is important. इस वक्त मेरा eye contact आपके साथ जो है, अगर मैं किसी और तरफ देखूं, you will immediately be put off. Because I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to my surroundings. I'm not talking to my environment. Eye contact is important. आपने कभी देखा है किसी को हाथ मिलाते हुए, हाथ तो वो मिलाए किसी से और देख किस तरफ रहा हो? No. The only warmthness can be felt while you are shaking hands, you have an eye contact. Eye contact. Eyes speaks volumes. You can look into an eye of a person and find out what are the true feelings. Speaking में, talking to people, eye contact is very important. मैं जब आपको presentation techniques सिखाऊंगा, बताऊंगा, तो इस पे मैं बहुत फोकस करूंगा कि आई कांटेक्ट लोगों के साथ, ऑडियंस के साथ, कभी इधर आपने लोग आई कांटेक्ट करना है, लेफ्ट, राइट, सिटिंग एट द बैक, इन द फ्रंट. दैट्स हाउ you will establish an eye contact. Because without an eye contact, आपकी sincerity, आपकी honesty का नहीं पता चलेगा. Now, eye contact is very cultural. In some customs, like in an American system, if you establish an eye contact while you're talking to a person, आप उसकी आंखों में आंखें डालकर देखकर बात करेंगे तो कहेंगे talking with confidence. But here in our culture, we cannot. हम अपने बुजुर्गों के साथ बात करते हुए आंखें झुका लेते हैं. हम अपने से बड़े रैंक के बंदे के साथ बात करते वक्त आंखें नीची कर लेते हैं. ये हमारा कस्टम है. So this is again the dilemma of the non-verbal communication. This is very cultural. You have to see to it in which environment you are using the non-culture, this non-verbal communication. So eye contact has got different meanings in different cultures. That is very important to be kept in mind as well. Gestures. When I'm talking to you, I'm using my hands. I'm gesticulating. How would that be अगर मैं आपसे बात करते हुए बिल्कुल ऐसे stiff? You will not like. Because gestures come automatically. Or gestures again express the feelings. आप इंटरैक्शन में लोगों के साथ बात करते वक्त आप जेस्चर्स का कई दफा फायदा उठाते हैं. आपने कभी किसी को दूर से बुलाना है, आप कहेंगे प्लीज लिसन टू मी. नाउ हियर दीज जेस्चर्स, और समटाइम्स यू मे नॉट use your sound, but somebody has looked at you very far off, you will just say, and the person will understand what you are asking for. But imagine, हमारे culture में मैंने आपको कह दिया, please come here. Now this is a gesture which is acceptable in our culture, but in certain cultures, this gesture is not acceptable. They might be offended if you use this sign. So we have to be careful which gesture we are using where. हमारे कल्चर के अंदर हम किसी को कैसे, किस जेस्चर से बुलाते हैं और उसका स्टेटस क्या है, क्या हमने किसी को शाउट करके बुलाना है या किसी के पास जाकर बुलाना है, किसी को फर्स्ट नेम से बुलाते वक्त कौन सा जेस्चर इस्तेमाल करना है, all would be entirely dependent what is the custom, the environment, tradition of that place. Now, touching, another very important non-verbal communication aspect. Touching shows intimation. It shows professionalism, sometimes use of social, polite or friendly gestures. बात करते वक्त आप कभी किसी के कंधे पर हाथ रखकर उसको समझाएं. One starts feeling that you're being compassionate or that you are being caring. Touching makes a lot of difference. Handshake, touching, firm handshake, solidarity, sincerity. आपने अक्सर देखा होगा कि मीटिंग्स के बाद people stand up, have a firm handshake, और बाज़ दफ़ा बहुत देर तक हिलाते रहते हैं. That is a non-verbal gesture. Americans hate to embrace. We love to embrace. This is, we want to touch, we want to feel. That is our way of showing our feelings, our compassions, our friendliness, our solidarity. The touching आप अपनी everyday life में भी use करें. Because if you are having a conflict with your colleague, with your subordinate, you may have differences and perhaps you might find it difficult to verbalize that. लेकिन अगर आप उसके कंधे पे हाथ रखकर उसके साथ चंद कदम चलकर उसको बात को क्लैरिफाई कर देंगे, तो वर्ड के साथ जो आपका ये टचिंग बिहेवियर जो चीज इंपैक्ट करेगा, उसका कोई ऑल्टरनेटिव नहीं. नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन will add, or rather it will facilitate what you really want to do by words, and the words sometimes, rather often, they are handicapped to communicate these feelings. Let me talk to you about posture. Posture is, this is my posture. Am I standing erect? Am I moving bent on one side? Reveal something. You walk into an office and the person is sitting erect, straight, or he's sitting relaxed, gives a non-verbal signal. आपने अक्सर देखा होगा, अगर आप वॉच करें डिक्टेटर्स को, they are stiff-necked and erect. That relieves power. ये posture रिवील करता है कि what they are going to impart. Postures, अगर आप किसी से कम्युनिकेशन कर रहे हैं अपने सीनियर से, and suddenly you realize that while you are talking, the person has moved ahead. He has bent forward to talk to you. He has tried to shorten the distance between you. अपने posture में, that is, he has given you a signal that he is interested in listening to what you are saying. Otherwise, अगर वो relaxed अपनी कुर्सी में बैठा पीछे रिलैक्स रहे, तो that will be an indicator कि not interested. But suddenly you have come up with something very interesting, you will see कि वो अपने रिलैक्स पोजीशन एकदम अलर्ट होके सामने आ जाएगा. अच्छा, what did you say? Now here is a signal that the person has suddenly got interested in what you are saying. And you too, when you go and talk to a person, you don't go and just sit in the chair. आप, to show respect, you sit on the edge, alert, stiff, straight. You indicate, show respect. So gestures जो हैं, आपके भी reflect करते हैं. ये non-verbal communication में you have to observe the gestures of the people. मैं इस वक्त जब आपसे बात कर रहा हूं, तो आप मेरे gestures को नोट कीजिए कि क्या इसके gestures जो हैं, इसके thoughts के साथ, इसकी speech के साथ मिल रहे हैं कि नहीं. ये again another indication of my sincerity and the honesty of what I am trying to communicate to you. Voice. Voice have got lots of attributes. There are 8 attributes. Loudness, pitch, rate, quality, regularity, articulation, pronunciation, and silence. हर लफ्ज पे आप गौर कीजिए. वॉइस कितना इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट प्ले कर रही. लिसन टू माई वॉइस. If I shout, that will show that I am trying to be rough. But if I am soft, I'll tone down my voice. अगर मैंने किसी को एंगर शो करना होगा, loudness. अगर मैंने किसी को प्लीड करना है, softness. That variation will reveal मेरा मूड क्या है. पिच. आप देखिए, जब मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूं तो मेरी आवाज की पिच में बहुत वेरिएशन. अगर मैं आपसे कहूं, भाई इस काम को आप करते क्यों नहीं, नाउ देयर इज अ हिडन मैसेज बिकॉज आई एम फोर्सिंग यू. भाई इस काम को आप करते क्यों नहीं. अ डिफरेंट पिच, वही सेंटेंस, डिफरेंट डिलीवरी, चेंज द मीनिंग. आप बच्चे से प्यार से बात करते हैं, बड़े से और तरीके से कहते, वही सेंटेंस, पिच, वेरिएशन. दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट एंड यू हैव टू लर्न टू यूज योर वॉइस. मोनोटोन में अगर बात कर रहे हैं तो वो और उसका इंपैक्ट है. अगर उसके अंदर पिच वेरिएशन है, जैसे आप मेरी डिलीवरी में देखिए, मेरी डिलीवरी में बहुत वेरिएशन है. And to tell you honestly, I play a lot with my voice. And that is what leaves an impact. I would really admire, I would like you to learn this thing, because this is important. You must learn to use your voice. Rate. If my rate of delivery is very fast, it might show. I'm afraid. जब आदमी कोई शख्स बहुत सपोज उसके घर डाका पड़ गया, वो भागा भागा आ रहा है, इमेजिन उसकी रेट ऑफ डिलीवरी बहुत तेज होगी. बच्चा जब डरा हुआ होगा, रेट ऑफ डिलीवरी तेज होगी. अदरवाइज नॉर्मल मोनोटोन में. मैं जब आपसे बात कर रहा हूं तो मेरी एक खास स्पीड है. रेट विल शो वॉइस की कि मैं किस मेंटल स्टेट में हूं. क्वालिटी, मेरी क्वालिटी ऑफ वॉइस क्या है. अगर मेरी क्वालिटी ऑफ वॉइस पुअर है, परहैप्स यू विल नॉट लाइक टू लिसन टू मी. मेरी डिलीवरी अफेक्ट करेगी. यू एज अ लिसनर माइट बी अफेक्टेड. रेगुलरिटी, मैं बोलते बोलते यकदम रुक जाता हूं. दो उसके इंपैक्ट्स हो सकते हैं. आप समझेंगे कि यार नहीं, ही इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड. या मैं कहता हूं हां, जो बात आपने की है ठीक है. अब ये जो मेरे इरेगुलरिटी आई है, इसका मतलब है मैंने सोचा है, और मैंने सोचने के बाद आपको अपनी सिंसियर ओपिनियन दी. दैट इज, आई हैव स्टॉप्ड and then I have listened over to what you have said, and that irregularity might at times reveal to you that I am sincerely, honestly considering your proposal. Articulation, how clear I am in my speech. मेरे thoughts कितने clear हैं. Am I confused? Will be revealed through my voice. My pronunciation, the words I deliver, how clearly I deliver my words will make an impact. मैंने आपको कहा था पहले कि अगर कोई फॉरेनर डिलीवरी, किसी स्पीच की डिलीवरी में इतना परफेक्ट नहीं, तो इट डज कॉज सम डिस्टर्बेंस. लेकिन वहां आपको ट्यून इन करना पड़ता है एक डिफरेंट स्टेट में, और यू वांट टू रियली नो अबाउट द सब्सटेंस. बट इफ यू वांट टू बी अ गुड प्रेजेंटर, प्रोनाउंसिएशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड देन comes the eighth attribute, silence. बात करते वक्त आप कभी कभी खामोश हो जाते हो. तो वो वॉइस में जब खामोशी, मैं बात करते करते मैं एकदम हाँ बात ठीक की, ये जो मेरा साइलेंस इसका मतलब आई हैव रिव्यूड, रीअसेस्ड. अब मैं आपको साइलेंस के बारे में मजीद बताऊंगा, लेकिन ये 8 एट्रीब्यूट्स जो वॉइस के हैं एड टू द क्वालिटी ऑफ योर प्रेजेंटेशन. And you have to focus on these non-verbal things which will add beauty to your message. Now I come to the silence which I just mentioned before. Silence अपनी ही एक जुबान है. इसमें अपना ही एक मैसेज है. कभी जब लिसनर खामोश हो जाए, उसके दो मायने हो सकते हैं कि लिसनर बड़ा अटेंटिवली आपकी बात सुन रहा है. इफ योर बॉस लुक्स इनटू योर आईज एंड लिसन्स टू यू, ही इज इंटरेस्टेड. और इफ ही हैज क्वाइटन डाउन सडनली एंड ही, वही बहुत सारे कॉम्बिनेशन है, और उसने एक रिलैक्स्ड पोस्चर ले लिया है, ही वांट्स नाउ टू शट योर माउथ एंड लीव. तो साइलेंस की इंटरप्रिटेशन आपके अपने बस में है. आप उसको कैसे इंटरप्रेट करते हैं. हमारे कल्चर में साइलेंस के भी अपने ही मायने. एट टाइम्स वी आर नॉट वोकल, एंड स्पेशली आर विमेन फोक आर एक्सपेक्टेड टू एट टाइम्स बिहेव साइलेंटली, एंड दैट साइलेंस इज अप्रूवल. I hope what you understand what I mean. तो साइलेंस किस सिचुएशन में कैसा जेस्चर नॉन वर्बल देता है, दिस यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. आपको कम्युनिकेशन में एट टाइम्स विल हैव टू ऑब्जर्व साइलेंस टू लेट द अदर पर्सन स्पीक, और एट टाइम्स you will have to show to the person that I am not interested in listening to you, and I'm not entering into a dialogue with you. Therefore, I want to go quite silent. That's how you use the silence. Silence environment में भी आपको एक non-verbal, मैं किस environment में पसंद करता हूँ, उसमें बैठकर काम करना चाहता हूँ, another reflection. कभी मैं काम करना चाहता हूँ किसी with all music around, gives you a reflection of my own feelings. So silence is an important non-verbal gesture, non-verbal attribute which you have to keep in mind as well. Very, very important non-verbal element, time. Time, किस वक्त क्या बात की जा रही, sends a message, sends a signal. Imagine that you receive a call from your chief executive late at night. What does it convey? That this is an important message. What would happen if you received a call late at night, you reach the office and you have not done the work? What was expected of you, you didn't do it. Your boss will be furious because the time showed the urgency of the matter. So that message, having been received at an odd time, has a non-verbal message that it is important. आप किसी को मिलने जा रहे हैं, अपॉइंटमेंट है, और आप वक्त पे नहीं पहुंच रहे, आप लेट आ रहे हैं. What does it indicate? You don't value time. Or for that matter, if I am the boss and I keep you waiting, इसके दो मायने हो सकते कि मैं बहुत या तो रियली मसरूफ, और दूसरा ये कि आई एम मेकिंग यू रियलाइज कि आई एम द बॉस, आई कैन मेक यू वेट. दोनों मैसेजेस हैं. बिकॉज पंक्चुअलिटी डिमांड्स दैट नो मैटर what the status is, we value time. Different environments में, different customs में, time की interpretation different. हमारे यहाँ खाने के लिए 8 बजे इन्विटेशन, 12 बजे से पहले मेहमान ही नहीं आते. Shows what value we attach to the time. बाहर फर्ज किया किसी के घर अगर आप वक्त पे चले जाएं, तो maybe they might as well think in certain customs they do that this person has got nothing to do. So वहां उनके customs, उनके tradition में acceptable है कि ये बंदा 10-15 मिनट लेट आएगा. So you have to see and judge according to the custom, time क्या reflect करता है. तो हमें time के बारे में भी बहुत careful रहना चाहिए. That how do we visualize time and how do we expect others to respect it. अगर मैं खुद time के बारे में बहुत punctual हूँ, I would expect others to be punctual as well. And likewise, I as a boss, अगर gives somebody a time, I should accommodate and acknowledge the importance of the other person as well. So time के बारे में you have to as well look into how the people observe it. Space. Space is another important element which will reflect that how this non-verbal communication indicates, what message it indicates. About space, we'll be talking about the intimate space, we'll be talking about the personal space, we'll be talking about the social space, and we'll be talking about the public space. Let me, before I talk about these things, talk about this space you occupy in your office. If you are occupying a big space, your table is big, your room is big, I at once will know what is your status in that organization. पहला impression मुझे, छोटी सी मेज, छोटी सी कुर्सी पे आप बैठे हुए कोने में, मुझे पता लग जाएगा कि आप किस रैंक पे काम कर. तो पहली बात तो ये, straight away, that is how the systems work. World over, इसी तरह से है. Executives के लिए बड़ी टेबल, बड़ी कुर्सी, ऑल एवरीथिंग, सारा पैराफर्नेलिया वहां, और उसके साथ एक कॉर्नर में सोफा, सेटी कॉर्नर में. What for? Because at times they want to entertain their visitors in a different environment. If a boss receives you while sitting in his chair, he doesn't leave the chair, and he remains seated in the chair and wants you to sit right in front of him across the table. That is, he is utilizing this space to send you a message. He wants to be very formal. On the other hand, if he says, let's sit here, takes you to the corner in a relaxed manner, that is, he is creating a different environment for you to be comfortable. That is, that's how he has utilized the space given to him to accommodate you and to reflect upon you, that how is he receiving you, in what environment he wants to have a dialogue with you. दूसरी बात, we have got our personal space as well. मैं जिस कुर्सी पे बैठा हूं, उस कुर्सी के पीछे थोड़ी सी space. That is my personal space. That is my private space. If somebody walks in and stands behind me, I'll be offended. And likewise, everybody will, because that is your private space. You do not want anybody to cross the limit of a private space in your office. That's an indication. On the other hand, if any of your close friends comes and does it, perhaps you might feel very happy. Using this space would reflect how much respect and accommodation you are giving to the person. ये तो एक स्पेस हुई ऑफिस की. दूसरी स्पेस जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, while we talk to each other, जैसे intimate space. When you are talking to your mother, you come closer. अपनी मां से दूर नहीं बैठते, अपनी मां के करीब होके बैठते हो, और करीब तर होते हो, कभी आप गले भी लगाते हो. This is the intimate space. You kiss your mother, you shorten that space. ये है intimate space. My public space, my private space, that is, I talk to a friend. How close my friend is, the distance will determine. कभी कहेंगे, ओ यार करीब आके बैठ, गप्पे लगाएं. That is old friend. That will reflect your private space. Social space. When you are socializing in a room, how closely you sit amongst yourself will reflect आप लोगों को क्या respect दे रहे हैं. Then public space, 12 feet के फासले के ऊपर, I want somebody to stay. I don't want my enemies to cross that space. If they cross that, they are trespassing my personal territory. So, space का अपना एक concept है. Space reflects your own feelings about what status, what position you are giving to a person. So, this is what I would like to emphasize to you by explaining all these various elements in nonverbal communication, that if you start putting an emphasis on the various aspects of the nonverbal communication, you will become a very efficient and effective speaker and a listener, both in writing and in oral. You cannot bifurcate oral with written. जितनी आपको नॉन वर्बल एस्पेक्ट्स का ख्याल ओरल में रखना पड़ेगा, उतना ही आपको रिटन में रखना पड़ेगा. मैंने आपको कम्युनिकेशन, द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बहुत डिटेल में इंफॉर्मेशन फ्लो पे बात की. इंफॉर्मेशन फ्लो रिटन में अगर आप नॉन वर्बल एस्पेक्ट्स निकाल देंगे, विल गिव अ डिफरेंट पिक्चर. दैट इज if the things you have put in a paper are not readable, if you have not highlighted certain things, then you will mar the effect you want to pass on through the written document. मैं emphasize करना चाहूँगा कि आप written documents को जब भी formulate करें, see to it that what message you want to pass over in how much time. मैंने आपको खास तौर पे कहा था, and जब when the time will come, I'll talk to you that how you should prepare your curriculum vitae, your biodata, because this is one thing you communicate through a written document. And if you do not know how to non-verbalize the things, you will not be able to give the message which you want to communicate. Written में focus कीजिए उन चीज़ों के ऊपर. हाँ, एक चीज़ जो मैं passing remark देना चाहूँगा कि आजकल के दौर में अगर आप कैलीग्राफी को देखें तो कैलीग्राफी is in itself an art. That is, you just look at the calligraphy, written document है, लेकिन besides the words written, non-verbal उनका impact क्या है. तो calligraphy is another good example of the non-verbal impact. तो written documents पे focus कीजिए और उनकी non-verbal aspect को मत भूलिए. इसके अलावा important चीज़ जो मैंने बार बार emphasize करता रहूँगा और आज भी कर रहा हूँ, वो है आपकी oral communication में non-verbal aspects. आज के बाद pay more attention to your non-verbal gestures. Be more careful, more attentive. Don't take it casually. Every move, every action of yours speaks. It gives a message. So, you should be vigilant of your attributes. Develop those attributes. आप अपनी इन faculties को develop कीजिए. Take care. Everything, your hairstyle, your clothes, the color combination, that leaves an impact. आपकी टाई आपके सूट के साथ कैसे मैच करती है, आपकी सूट्स आपके कपड़ों का कैसा अंदाज है, आप कौन से कपड़े कहाँ पहन रहे हैं, आप हाइजीनिकली कैसे हैं, आप do you appear neat. These will leave an impact. Because don't forget, you are going to interact with people, more so with professional people, जहाँ के आपके career का सारा दारोमदार है. तो don't take it casually. Non-verbal gestures को लोग बहुत carefully देखते हैं. मैंने आपको पिछले lectures में कहा था, lots of messages are left unsaid. Lots of messages remain uncommunicated. They are communicated, they are said only through non-verbal gestures. And we have to be careful. We have to start learning to find out what are we communicating through non-verbal gestures and what are the non-verbal gestures we are receiving from other people. आज के lecture के बाद मैं चाहूँगा कि आप sit down quietly and see to it that what non-verbal things you want to develop within yourself and start from today. Words पे जोर दीजिए, vocabulary increase कीजिए, language को improve कीजिए, मगर अपना lifestyle, अपना living style और जो आपकी ज़िंदगी के goals हैं, उनके लिए आप अपने आप को आज से तैयार करें और non-verbal gestures बहुत ज़्यादा contribute करेंगे. I'm quite hopeful. Inshallah, with the passage of the time, you will benefit from these things. These are the practical things which will change your life. And as I say, you can make or break yourself by adopting these things or ignoring. इनकी मुझे ज़रूरत नहीं. Choice is in your hands. Think today. Thank you very much.